Welcome back to episode 11 with Hits the Fan, starring Roscoe.
What's happening, baby? You in the building.
There we go. Turn me up, turn me up, turn me up. Also starring Fred. How you feeling, Fred?
I'm feeling good, man. I'm feeling good. How are you?
Hey, doing great, man. Hey, keep talking into the mic. The mic looking good out there, man.
Yeah, that thing look nice, man.
You can hear me loud and clear.
That thing look nice. I forgot what your voice sound like, brother.
Yeah.
Welcome to the show. Appreciate it.
So episode 11, look, we're on the other side of 10. You know what I mean? And one of our favorite topics we're going to jump right into is the XFL, right? The XFL, we saw a big situation happen. The Houston Roughnecks lost their first game in franchise history. The first loss, like literally when they were a franchise, they've never lost before. And they have the biggest, toughest, undefeated DC Defenders, the DCDs.
All day, DCDs, baby.
So Roscoe, I don't want to even hear from Fred right now because I know he's still in mourning a bit.
Yeah, of course.
He's still in mourning. So Roscoe, walk us through this.
Look, man. Like I told y'all before, man. You know what I'm saying? When I chose the Defenders, I chose them for sentimental reasons because they had connection with my family. But I also looked at how they play, how they perform. These boys are having fun out there. They kicking butt. They're undefeated. They're undefeated. So if all of you XFL fans out there don't understand, come listen to Roscoe, man. I got your back. Come bet with me. We're gonna make bread, bro. But Fred,
if I had Roscoe's tinfoil kufi on, I would say that the Roughnecks took a dive so they could win a dramatic victory against the DC Defenders in Week 6 and set up a classic, an XFL classic early on between the Houston Roughnecks and the DC Defenders, and that's what I think happened. I also think, the Defenders are still undefeated, but and the Roughnecks lost to the Sea Monsters or whatever they're called. But
don't disrespect the boys, man.
So much smack about the.
You can't disrespect them boys, man.
Here's what you need to know. Here's what you need to know about the Roughnecks. The Roughnecks are still in first place in their division, and they are the league's top scoring offense, and they have the best defense. So they're outscoring everybody 136-76. So obviously, rush DC.
They have a loss.
You
forgot that part.
It happens. I think that when you think about what a Roughneck does, they're mining. They're drilling for oil all the time.
Nobody cares about what a Roughneck does because they lose games.
He's backpedaling. He's just backpedaling. Dog, just say, you know what, my team lost, it sucked, and move on.
That's it.
I think there's probably some reasons.
Y'all lost to the Sea Monkeys, man. Keep it pushing, dude.
We lost to the Snorks.
The Snorks.
Y'all lost to the Snorks. AJ and All-Star now.
Oh, man. Hey, man, it happens to the worst of them.
Hey, keep your head up, Roughneck Nation.
So let's give some score predictions for the upcoming game. What is the score predictions you have for? Because there's only one game there's many games, but the only game that's on the XFL this week is the Roughnecks versus the Defenders. What's your guys' score predictions for this matchup?
I see 102-3 Defenders.
That seems a little outrageous. I was going to say I could see DC getting up early and then probably like a 45-6 victory for the Roughnecks. So I was going a little bit more realistic than Roscoe. But yeah, I mean, I think the Roughnecks will.
Look, I really don't care if it's 2-0. As long as we pull out that victory, baby, that's all that matters. That's it.
I don't see it.
All right. So considering these predictions, my predictions for the score will be about 29-25, and I'm going to go with DC. I'm going with DC, actually. I'm not gonna lie. I'm gonna go with DC on
everything right now. Fred, you can't deny that.
Every Roughnecks fan knows when you're at the top of the league, when you're at the pinnacle of what the XFL has to offer, then you have a target on your back.
You're
so
not at
all
the
that is.
You're not at the top, brother. Come
Close
back
enough.
down to reality, man.
Close enough.
One of the big shifts that happened for the first time, the XFL actually went really down in the ratings. Now, Fred, I know you did a little research on this. What are some of your thoughts or some of the things that you've seen as to reasons why?
Well, the one thing that stood out to me, so this was the biggest single week decrease since week 1 to week 2. Remember, we talked about that a few episodes back. We did talk about this, and they decreased by almost half. I think they were close. Actually, it was probably about half. I think they were close to 600,000 last week when we talked about it. This game with the Roughnecks and the Sea Dragons, it actually 256,000 people watched this game, and that was kind of right around the average for how many were tuning in. I think I saw one that had like around 342. So this was a significant drop in the ratings. But I think people were watching March Madness, and that could have something to do with it. But that's March Madness ain't going away, so
yeah,
that's the XFL problem every year potentially.
I was looking at that. I know they want to kind of kickstart as soon as the NFL season is over with, but to get that kind of boost because people are still kind of football hungry, and it's the football that comes out. But is there something to be said to move the first week of the tournament till after March Madness is over? I know we're getting to the start of baseball, but at the same time, would you guys think it would be prudent to shift the XFL season? I guess that would be my question for this.
I don't think you need to shift it more so than like tweak the scheduling. Like, let's say, like during March Madness, they could have like their All-Star game or something like that. You know what I'm saying? Or just have something where it you're gonna lose fans by watching basketball and all that good fun stuff. So you put out something that's extra fun at the same time, highlighting your players, highlighting the greatness of your players. Have an All-Star week, All-Star month or whatever. You know what I'm saying? And then do that. Then after March Madness, crank it back up again, just like how baseball and basketball do. Have an All-Star game in the middle of the season.
What are your thoughts, Fred?
Yeah, I mean that's not a terrible idea. I think it's hard for me to come up with what you do. To address this. I think the trick is that you have to know it's a problem and do something about it. I mean, I don't know how to address it, and I don't know if the XFL has the capabilities to do like a showcase or an all-star game or something like that. But maybe you do shift your season around a little bit, or maybe you figure out a way to like stagger some of the early games or the midway games here at this point in the season, and maybe keep some of your better teams, I don't know, on a different night of the week where they're not running counter to these games. You probably have to figure something out. I just don't know what it would be, but it's a pretty small league, and maybe now is the time to try to figure that out so you don't run into these challenges.
And I could figure out the schedule to the brackets and go different ways and all that good fun stuff. So yeah. All right.
No, I would just say I think we are the people to kind of they're sitting down doing the same thing. I know they have more metrics in front of them in terms of different raw numbers, but I think that's what it is, just sitting down trying to problem solve, and that's what makes it interesting. As they grow with the league, we also get to see a budding league grow and what that looks like. And speaking of growing, the Vegas Vipers won their first game against the Orlando Guardians, not the Orlando Predators, the Orlando Guardians, which was actually the most interesting / exciting game of the weekend in the XFL. It was very much a back and forth effort. So, but it was just the most interesting game of the season. So that's what I kind of appreciate. Not of the season, but of this week.
I would say that Orlando was put on a show for what they did. So I'll graduate to be the Orlando Gardeners. You know what I'm saying? They can go out there and until they win a game, they don't get their nickname back.
Till they win a game, they don't. I like that. I like that. So speaking of that, what did you guys think of Coach Prime, Deion Sanders in Colorado, telling his players they have to earn their numbers? They're going to show up to practice with no numbers, nothing on there unless they earn it. And he also said, which I thought was pretty interesting, if there were two people going out for 45, like, whatever number, you had to beat out and be better than that other person if you wanted to get that number first. It was like everything was a competition. How does that land with you all? Let's start with you, Fred.
I like that idea. I think that's a good idea. I think, I know that for coaches, one of the challenges is keeping competition prevalent in all things that you do. So if you have a good environment, you know what I mean? Like if you've got some good kids there, everybody's kind of, you're able to keep any of that from getting out of control or too intense, although you wanted to get somewhat intense. But, you're capable from keeping it boiled. If you're capable of keeping it from boiling over, I think that spirit of competition is something you would want, kind of in every aspect, or at least as many aspects as you can get it in for your players.
I would say that I love it. That's old school stuff. And it brings out that dog like he's looking for. You know what I'm saying? Because I know how these kids are about numbers. And some people will choose different schools because they can't have a certain number. So my thing is I would want that type of guy that's going to go out there and say, look, 45 is my number. I'm taking it from him. And when I wear it, I'm going to wear it around him and show them that I whooped him. And I'm going to whoop everybody else on the field. So he creating dogs out there, man. He create that Florida-style football player out there in the mountains. I hope they're ready for it, man. Because it's coming, and I'm going to be here to watch it, brother. It's going to be good, man.
Well, one of the things, he's already has the spring game sold out, which is kind of insane.
Yeah.
It's sold out right now for a spring game, which is nothing, as we all know, is a glorified practice.
Yeah. That's it.
I don't even know what type of rules they'll play, but it's just pretty interesting. I just wanted to kind of bring that up. Now, speaking of rules and changes and things that are tossy-turvy, the NCAA tournament, what a wild opening week. We had number ones going down. We had number twos going down. It was just energetic. What games stood out to you from this weekend that you thought were like just super exciting and kind of got your energy up?
The one game that I saw that was like, man, this is what I'm talking about with basketball. It was Miami, Indiana. And you know what I'm saying? Miami is fast and they can shoot, and they ran Indiana out the gym. And it was almost like, why is Indiana, rank higher than them? You know what I'm saying? It also, get that question of ranking, but that game there showed me that, yeah, man, like any given time, somebody can get whooped and ran out the gym, man, and they put on a show.
We know about one of the things with Miami is that they have a really strong NIL program, right? Mm-hmm. They signed those twins on the girls basketball side. They have these players seemingly came out of nowhere on the boys side who can play. They're a very talented team. I'm not saying they're the Fab Five, from Michigan, but they are a team that has come together and they have that type of new on the scene, exciting energy, a high flying, athletic style of play. That's the energy that they're giving me. So, but Fred, what are your thoughts on? And Roscoe, you're a homer
all day.
So I just want to make that for the record. Look. Obviously, you went with them before the school.
First off, on the last episode, I told you my philosophy in picking the brackets, and all of my Florida teams made it out the first round. FAU upset somebody. Miami, did their thing. I don't forget the other Florida team, but they whooped somebody too. It don't matter. All day, baby, sunshine in your face.
Fred, what are your thoughts on the opening week of the tournament?
I think it's crazy to see Purdue get knocked out. I had them going pretty far, especially in the opening round, obviously. I also think the Duke and Tennessee game, that was a good game. And then seeing Kansas lose, kind of mind-blowing as well. It just speaks to kind of what a crazy tournament it's been so far.
My only disappointment is that Oral Roberts lost. That was very disappointing. That oral. Roberts lost to Duke.
Well, I mean, you can't depend on oral all the time. You know, some people say they're overrated. So
I know those people.
Yeah, they really had to swallow their pride in that opening round.
Yeah, they did.
Right. So
keep it together.
One time for oral.
Yeah,
Robert. Now that we have these brackets reorientated, who do you guys have winning the whole thing now?
Alabama from the get-go, and they're still in it to win it. So I gotta dance with who brought me.
For me, I picked Gonzaga, but watching that Miami team, I'm
going full homer.
Full, got to full homer.
Oh man, I guess I would say if Miami win it, I'll be over the moon. Before we get out of here, nobody even mentioned Princeton is still in it as a 15 seed. They not only beat Arizona, they also beat Missouri, and they got a chance to play Creighton. They can make it to the regional final.
And the thing about Princeton, they are not like flashy and pretty. They just get the job done, man. They really like get the job done, and whoever their coach is, he needs a raise because they doing the thing. Also, I would, before we get out of the March Madness deal, I want to bring up the ladies, man, the ladies bracket, man. So give them some props because we watch your Bulls.
Okay, it's not as strong as it used to be.
It started off good, but I mean, it is what it is, brother. They ran against a buzzsaw, man. So, what are your thoughts on that, brother?
Man, I'm proud of the girls. You know what I mean? They did their thing. It just sucked that they were rated. They were ranked. They were not the 8th seed, the lowest number 8 seed. My words flipping all over me. They're not the lowest 8th rated seed team. They shouldn't have been playing South Carolina. I mean, I'm kind of annoyed by that. Period. Point blank. We had one of the best seasons in our history. We won the regular season tournament. We lost in the first round. Don't get me wrong. So we kind of put ourselves in a bad situation. But to be an 8 seed playing the number 1 overall tournament seed, I thought was just really unfair. And I thought our performance even more so, even though we get the win, but we hung in there for almost 3 quarters. I think really showed that we were a better team than we were given credit for, because we looked like we belonged for most of that game. But, we just didn't have quite enough this time around. But I'm proud of the ladies, having them keep pushing. But now, since USF is out of the tournament, I still think South Carolina is going to win the whole thing, even more so, because they're so big. They're just physical. Like it's like having a good old fashioned ground game. They could pound it inside anytime they want. Run that 32 trap. You know what I mean? Up the team, and what you gonna do with it? What you gonna do with it? And they are athletes. They just got athletes.
I just want to point out that USF answer was the homerest answer on earth.
Yeah, it was rough.
You can't call me a homer ever. And say,
was that just to call me a homer? Was that just a setup to call me a homer?
That's all that was, just to set you up so I can get you back for calling me a homer, brother. But hey, it's all good, man. I mean,
luckily you did a real in-depth analysis about your favorite home too. It was great.
An in-depth analysis on how you get waxed in the tournament.
Yeah, you did. He introduced a conspiracy theory and everything. All kinds of rabbit holes.
He went everywhere with it.
I'm still pissed by that, man. I'm pissed.
We can tell. We can tell that you're still upset about that.
I should have gave him a goofy. Oh boy. Hold on. There you go.
Moving on. All right. So our next topic was, I don't even know what our topic is. That got me befuddled. All right. CBS Sports just came out with an article in which they gave their rankings for who won free agency.
Obviously, the answer is the Dolphins. Everybody knows that the Dolphins are poised to do big things this year. I don't know why the two of you feel the need to come on here and pretend like that's not the case, but we'll see when the season starts and the Dolphins win football games the same way that they've won free agency.
All right.
I actually like the fact that the Dolphins are graded as an A because it goes back into the how the hurt and the pain when they fail to win another Super Bowl will be glorious. You know what? I'm going to start celebrating when the Dolphins are disqualified from winning the Super Bowl every year. You know how you know how the undefeated team from 72, you know how they celebrate every time the last team won't be able to go undefeated. They have like a little party, a little celebration. I'm going to start celebrating every year when the Dolphins aren't able to go to the Super Bowl, or they're out of the contention for the Super Bowl. I didn't say win it. I'm just saying out of contention to go to the Super Bowl.
This is the kind of behavior I would expect from a Bucs fan whose starting quarterback was Baker Mayfield. That's like exactly the way that I would expect you to act. So I get it. I understand your hatred. I understand your frustrations. If it's going to make you feel better to root against the Dolphins because the Bucs have not given you anything to root for, then that's fine with me. He is the head.
Right, I want to jump in. I have one question to ask you. Have the Dolphins won a Super Bowl in your lifetime?
I also want to point out this is the second time in 2 weeks since you've asked this question. I still don't get this conversation.
All right. The answer is no.
It all ties back to Baker Mayfield.
The answer is no. So shh, be quiet. Roscoe. All right, Fred. We're taking over this conversation. Let's give Roscoe an opportunity to give his thoughts, his opinion on the topic.
I love hearing both of y'all talk, man. It is great. It is high comedy to me because y'all are both, like y'all said, homers, and y'all are true believers in y'all craft. You got the Dolphin, man, like you said, they're going to lose no matter what. And then you sitting there praising Baker Mayfield that came on the press conference and said, well, at least I'm not Tom Brady, so y'all just got to deal with me. You know what I'm saying? Like, what type of confidence is that? How does your first press conference to your fans say, well, I'm not Tom Brady, but I'm me. I work hard to get to here. Like, anyway.
That's better than I thought it was going to go because I thought he was going to get up there and say, me? Quarterback? Sorry? And then it was going to be over in like confusion.
Baker Mayfield has an amazing story, right?
Yes, he does.
He's a man that fought himself up. He wasn't even like one of the top rated quarterbacks in coming out of high school, right? He didn't have all the best offers, but he decided to go to Texas Tech when they had quarterbacks, fight his way up, go to Oklahoma, win that starting position, win the Heisman Trophy, and fight to become the number one pick in the NFL draft. He went to Cleveland, and they won when he was there as the quarterback.
You know what else is a great Cinderella story?
Cinderella? Exactly. And Baker Mayfield will be the next Drew Brees in Tampa Bay. Mark my words.
Why isn't he the quarterback of the Browns anymore, the team that picked him first overall? I'm just curious about that.
He outgrew the Browns, man. That's what that was, man. He was big Browns, man.
There was a lot of turmoil
in that stadium. He was living in those Hulu commercials or whatever that was.
Yeah, that's what it was. He was staying at the stadium. He got bigger than the Browns, man. It's Cleveland.
They didn't do it.
Hey, that Paul Brown Stadium is gorgeous. Have you guys been to Cleveland?
Not on purpose.
That stadium is gorgeous. This is like, anyways. I'm sorry, Roscoe. Please, Roscoe, give your take on this topic. I'm waiting with bated ear.
Okay. All right. Here's my take on free agency. All right. You know, and everybody knows who my team is. I don't have to say it. We are becoming New England of the West. There you go. You can see the logo right there. Jeez. Basically, he's building a staff and a team around him that he's comfortable with, that knows what to do and how to do it, and they know how to win. That's what a lot of people keep forgetting about these Patriots play. They know how to win, man. It's called the Patriot way, and I'm not mad at it if you want to bring 7, 8, 9, 10 rings with them. The Raiders, the Raiders are doing their thing, but I would say the person or the team that's underratedly doing great, and they're still great, is the Kansas City Chiefs, and I hate to say that. They are just doing nothing but getting better. And I hate it, but you got to give props to where they are, man. You know what I'm saying? They just, this person go, all right, we'll just refill them with this person and keep it pushing. You know what I'm saying? So that's my take on it.
I have another question I'm going to throw out. Whether it be through trade or whether it's through actual signing, who do you think is going to be the best player signed or have the biggest impact on their team? I think that's a better way of phrasing it. From free agency, from the first round, who signed or have been traded, right? Who do you think is going to have the biggest impact?
I would say right off rip, Derek Carr. He's going to have a horrible impact on the New Orleans Saints. And you didn't say it had to be good or bad. You didn't have to say
no, I'm with you.
Because they really have a lot of expectations for that guy who's gun shy. And when that pressure get on him and he get that good cooking down there, man, and hanging out, and that good church boy attitude gonna go away. He gonna start talking with a little southern drawl or whatever. And it's gonna show why the Raiders let him go. Like basically the Bucs can win the division simply because
the Bucs will win the division
in the Saints.
I think that takes me right into who's going to have the biggest impact, and I'm going to say it's Baker Mayfield because he's going to have a tremendous impact on everything else that's going on in the Tampa Bay area because the Bucs are going to be so awful, no one's going to go to these games. So look out in the breweries. Look out in your little trendy downtown fancy areas, in your malls, on your beaches. Look out in all these areas because all the people who are avoiding the Bucs games are going to be there. Everything's going to be crowded.
Everything's going to be popping.
Thank Baker Mayfield.
All right, so I fully agree. Baker Mayfield is going to have an amazing impact on the Buccaneers as they win the NFC South and push forward. Another person who I'm intrigued by is Garoppolo going to Vegas. I would say that's my most intriguing one. I think Baker Mayfield's better because I do, and will have a bigger impact. But Garoppolo going to Vegas and hooking up with Adams and seeing if he can, because I'm thinking of like him with Deebo Samuels, you know what I mean? With super talented players, he can find a way if they allow him to give super talented players opportunities with Kittles and stuff like that. I think he could do a job without being spectacular. And sometimes that's more than enough if he can stay healthy enough. You know what I mean? Which is a big if.
We also have bandwagon applications if you want one. You can still join.
I can't believe you even have to apply. Are they sure that Adams is still going to be there? Because I didn't think he'd be too happy about Carr going. And I don't know. I mean, I guess they just signed him, so he just finished the first year of that deal. I don't know what that looks like, but I think that could. I mean, look, my understanding was him and Carr were like friends. I mean, they were college teammates. They've been playing together for a long time. I would imagine that's going to be a tough transition. Like you get Jimmy G coming in, and you're like, oh man, you're not my friend.
But the thing is, what Mr. Payne said earlier, he's coming in to a system that he already knows with a comfortable coach, and his homeboy that left was not comfortable with the system. Even though they are bestest friends on earth, and on the football field, that don't matter, man. As long as you know that he's comfortable with the system and he knows he ain't gonna try to get him that ball. And I would be ecstatic that I had somebody that had the coach's ear and knew everything, all the nuances to the playbook, man.
You sound like Mr. Opinion talking about Baker Mayfield. You two are ridiculous.
No. See,
I'm
not delusional. I'm just
you sound kind of
the real. What'd you say?
He's not even a good coach.
Okay, well, I mean, He knows his system, okay? Just because your quarterback has scrambled eggs for brains, that doesn't mean that you guys are still number one A+. All right with those guys, okay? But he knows the system. The football is all about the system, brother. You can have the best players on earth.
Set up.
Yeah. You can have the best players on earth, but as long as you got that system that works, it's a beautiful thing, man.
You know, one of the things I just want to add in this conversation, Adams is on the verge of being a Hall of Famer.
Mm-hmm.
He's on the verge. He's right on the cusp. And if I think if he keeps the same level of productivity, especially with the way the Hall of Fame set up, he will get there. But on top of that, to have a player that can get him the ball in spaces and places that he'll like, I think it'll mean a lot. So any final thoughts on free agency before we close out this topic?
Well, just to finish off what you were talking about, I think it's important to point out that Adams also played the vast majority of his career with a Hall of Fame quarterback, and Jimmy Garoppolo is not Aaron Rodgers.
Good. I don't want Aaron. Keep it pushing.
Apparently, the Jets don't want him either because they ain't willing to pay for him.
You keep Aaron.
Roscoe, you have any final thoughts on this topic?
All I can say is, man, that just win, baby.
All right. I don't know exactly what day, but
it's just this week. He's expected to come back this week.
This week, John Morant is stepping back on the court in the NBA. He's finishing his undisclosed type of treatment in Florida. I hope he's all rested up. I hope he got some sun.
He said he didn't have a drinking problem.
Of course not.
There you go.
It's not a problem when you know what you're doing, man.
It's true. And you do sweat it out fast in Florida. So, sometimes you don't even know it's going in.
He's, Florida, we talked about this last week. Those Florida clinics really get you back in the game real fast.
Quick.
It's only been a week, it don't take long.
He don't drink any more or any less. He's back.
I'm glad for him, man. It seems like it's gonna blow over. We're not dealing with the 15-20 game crazy type of suspension and some of the things that we were hearing about before. So, and it seems like, you go down to those Florida clinics, you get a lot of strong help, and it sounds like he got exactly what he needed.
He is going to want to be extra careful on social media. I don't know what's going on with the social media. I don't really follow him or pay attention, but I'm sure he's doesn't have a whole lot of room to play around here. So he's probably going to want to keep it all together.
Well, I mean, he's a brand, right? So I don't even want a social media. Why is somebody handling my social media as a brand?
Because he's young and he already knows it all, man. Did you not know that? Do you not know that about young athletes with millions of dollars, man? They know everything already. And I can do whatever I want because I'm Teflon Don.
Yeah, and young people come up with social media their whole lives. I mean, I saw some old Instagram posts of his floating around on Twitter last week that when he was very young. And, it's part of their identity. So they're not handing that over to someone to handle. Some of them have had those accounts, for years and years. It's like their scrapbook.
Nah, I hear that, but no, there's no buts to it. I hear that. I would give it up to my brand in a minute and make that decision and maybe set up a different account. But I get that. I get it. I really do.
Kevin Durant, get a burner account.
Yep.
I'm sure he has a burner account. I will put money he has a burner account.
But even if he posts a picture of himself on a burner account, they're still going to know it's him. So it's probably better to keep your firearms off of social media, and then everything should be mostly okay.
Yeah, agree with that. For sure. Now, the WBC. This doesn't stand for the World Boxing Championship.
What we're talking about?
Nah, this isn't a pugilism. This is actually the World Baseball Classic, which swept the world literally by storm. Over 60 millions, hundreds of millions of people watching this around the globe, and almost silent in America.
Oh yeah.
Almost silent, you know. Where do you guys stand? Did you guys watch it? Did you see it? Like, how did it land with you? What say you, Roscoe?
I watched a little bit of it, and it was in between, March Madness and XFL, but March Madness takes precedence of everything. So, what I'm saying, I catch glimpse. And, the thing I got from it is, man, that it's a lot of cats that I didn't know that was showcased. Like, the Mexican team had the best uniforms I've seen. And that made me stop the channel and watch. And I saw a boy, I don't know, I forgot his name.
Randy Rosarina from the Rays.
He's sitting there folding his arms,
and, players in baseball.
trending, and then Japan coming out there doing what they do, man. It was basically some of the most exciting baseball I've seen in a while. So,
and that kind of spoke to what I saw, what I noticed. I was thinking about even doing a reaction video on this. Is the crowds. The crowds were live. It was the energy in the stadium. I haven't seen that since like the Amazing Mets. You only see that in playoff baseball, really, and not even in every series. Like this is like the energy was heavy and it was intense. But what I also liked, the players were allowed to show some of their personalities. You had the pepper grinder. You had a Rosarina like this after making an amazing grab in center field. And you had just so much energy from the players pumping their chest after pulling off these great plays. And I just thought, the energy and seeing the personalities really made it more real to me. And plus all the political dynamics between countries, I thought that also brought a lot to the table.
It gave off soccer vibes, man. Like real life.
It had the international flair. I'm sure what you would call that. And the people playing the pride of their country. Some people played for countries they weren't born in, but maybe had some sort of connection to. That was kind of interesting as well. It was it's a great tournament, and I don't know if you guys have ever watched it in the past. I've watched it, I don't know, every few ones or maybe every other one because it's been around since 2006. And it really is a great it's a great way to showcase the sport. It's as good a way to showcase the sport as anything. I think it does kind of have like a soccer feeling to it, but it's baseball at its best. And also if you notice, one thing was conspicuously absent, which was that stupid pitch clock, and it made the game so much more enjoyable. I think that my guess would be that if you trotted that pitch clock out to a field in Japan, that everyone's gonna just walk out. And so that's probably why they didn't bring it around for this, because the whole world knows it's dumb except for us. And one thing also that was really cool about this that I wanted to point out was the game, the last game, the championship game, Japan won it. And it was pretty dramatic the way it ended.
Over the U.S.
What's that? Yeah, over the U.S. They won 3-2 over U.S. Ohtani, the Japanese pitcher who is also a Major League Baseball pitcher, faced his Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim teammate Mike Trout, who is widely regarded as one of the best players in baseball. Trout had a 3-2 count with 2 outs, down a run in the ninth. Ohtani struck him out, and it was really two of the best players in the sport and teammates facing each other, for a dramatic end to a game. And I have to also point out, it has to be the most exciting baseball moment for two Angels players since Angels in the outfield, because there's no way they're never playing significant baseball ever. And as a matter of fact,
like that, no,
they're terrible, and they have two of the best players in baseball, and they're still terrible. I really think that they should be brought up on charges of fraud for robbing their fans of meaningful baseball from two of the best players in the game. It's really a shame. And there have been a ton of great players to go in that organization and come out just a ghost of their former selves. So shout out to the Angels for whatever you're doing to ruin baseball. And thanks to the WB for saving it.
That was a roundabout way to take a shot at an organization.
He took us
I was like
around the
trying to figure out
world.
where you going with this. I was trying to, and then
They're a
it
true dumpster
landed
fire.
when you
They
taking
really
a
are
shot
a
at
dumpster
Angels
fire.
organization.
Yeah. It's a shame. It's a shame what they've done to those players out there on the West Coast.
I was wondering where he was going with it.
I was trying to figure it out, and I was just like, okay.
Hey, speaking of the WBC, did y'all see? Because I saw this on the internet. Did y'all see? What's his name? 6ix9ine get kicked out of the game during the Mexican game because he was drunk and being belligerent and stuff. Man, did y'all see that online?
I was unaware that happened until you told me about it. But I also, I just, in all fairness, I avoid looking at that guy's face with all my every way I possibly can. So if I would have started to see it, I would have moved. I would have scrolled. It was
there. It was like he had the flag. He was drunk. You know what I'm saying? He was just like a regular fan. Like he was excited about Mexican baseball. Yeah. He could have been out pitch clocking broads, but he was at the baseball game. You know what I'm saying? Being drunk and being belligerent. It was beautiful.
Being a fan.
I'm sure he got. My guess would be that he got kicked out because literally nobody likes him in the world, and that was that was shown later on on in the week whenever he was in a gym in Miami and just got beat into a pulp. So sorry that happened to you, buddy.
Was they playing Cuba? Was Mexico playing Cuba that time when he got kicked out? Right.
Oh, I don't know. I think
it was.
I didn't.
So I think I just solved the case. He was talking mad trash.
Where's the tinfoil Koofy? Wait, hold on. Tinfoil moment.
Hold on. Here we go.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
He was talking mad trash at the game about Mexico and about Cuba and all that good stuff. And then he stays in Miami and goes to a gym. Well, I don't know if you've ever been to Miami, but I have. It's a bunch of Cubans down there. Then they don't appreciate you talking about them like that. So when they catch you in the sauna, I don't know what goes on in the sauna. I've never been in one. But however it went down, they gave him the business. So, I mean, that's just my take. Like, they got him for the baseball thing. That's all. Koofy off.
Could be.
Nah, I
really
thought.
Just like that.
No, I was just gonna say shout out to the World Baseball Classic for giving us some really great entertainment. But why do you think there's a disconnect between the rest of the world and America when it comes to the World Baseball Classic, right? Because the Major League Baseball players were put on a pitch count. It was kind of getting screwy with the setup of the gameplay. With Major League Baseball teams saying, hey, don't pitch our players too much. Don't do this, don't do that. Mm-hmm. So it was a lot of restrictions. They kind of started easing it off as the tensions were building. But even the coverage of the World Baseball Classic, this wasn't, they have 40%, 50%, 60% of the, probably even higher, of Japan's population watching this. I'm not talking about when America's playing. I'm just talking about just in general right? Yeah. They just have like the excitement is crazy for this. Whether you're in Venezuela or Korea, right? This is a big deal. So what I'm saying is, what are we missing? Considering, is it a case of the World Series being just so much more important, or March Madness being so much important? What are your guys' thought on this?
I think part of it is that we've, obviously America's like the birthplace. It's America's game, or that was what it was known as forever. But we're the birthplace of this sport. But I think because we have this gigantic organization that is Major League Baseball, it has become so sanitized and commercialized in ways just like every other sport that we have in the United States. But at the same time, we spend a lot of time exporting it to other countries where it probably can't be commercialized and repurposed and repackaged. And not to be funny, I know I bring it up a lot, but the pitch clock is a good example of that. That shift rule is a good example of that. This need to tweak things to get fans in who maybe aren't fans of the game. They're not doing that in the Dominican Republic. They're not doing that in Japan. These sports are for people who love these sports. And so when it comes time to do something for those fans to show up and show out, the World Baseball Classic is a chance for them to do it. And I don't really know anyone who's that passionate about Major League Baseball anymore. And I grew up a baseball fan, so I just think it's kind of, it's probably a cultural shift.
I would say that American baseball and American baseball fans are elitists, and the thought process, and they basically saying that baseball is beneath us because we play the best brand of baseball.
That's a really good point, and I want to respond to that because that's something I hadn't really thought of. And and I think in some things, like when I think of basketball, I do normally think in terms like that, and that those terms aren't necessarily right, but I do just always think, oh man, American basketball, they're going to kill whoever. Again, that doesn't hold up all the time, but I'm an elitist when it comes to basketball. I do think when it comes to baseball, I mean, this thing started in 2006. Japan's won it 3 times.
Mm-hmm.
Have players from, I mean, baseball has just had players from so many countries. I feel like forever, and really some of these teams, these countries in the World Baseball Classic, they put out some amazing teams. I know a lot was made about the Team USA, and they were really good, but there were some really, really good teams in this tournament. I mean, I guess if you like baseball, it was fun to watch, and I think a lot of people who consume Major League Baseball now aren't necessarily baseball fans.
I think I think this tournament in America not winning as much may have, especially with the energy of this, may have a opportunity to put a resurgence in baseball, especially in terms of getting pride back in the sport. Almost like I remember in '92 when the Dream Team was coming to restore baseball. We could have another Dream Team moment, with the full American roster out there. We know the full American roster wasn't there, in terms of the pitching staff, more specifically. So if we get on a full American roster and we don't win, I think that'll actually push the sport even more forward in a positive direction. And speaking of pitch clock, I do want to say time has reduced like up to 20 minutes of the amount of time it takes to play a game. So it has had an impact in terms of the pitch clock. And I heard this idea from shout out to number 8, Andrew Goodrich. I heard he gave me this idea that maybe they could do it during the regular season, but during the playoffs, because we saw a lot of without the pitch clock in the World Baseball Classic, we saw a lot of that tension build up. You know what I mean?
Part of the game. That's what I've been saying.
Maybe, but I'm okay and just have it for the regular season, but in the playoff time. But then that'll be switching games, which I'll be okay with though. But
I don't think they'll switch it up like that because then you get used to playing a certain way, and you get the playoffs, and it's like oh man, I got to do
a new
something.
game.
So it's like Fred was saying earlier, man. It's about trying to get new audiences in America, which, as you can see, the international audience is basically there, ready for you to, to go get. Like the NBA has the blueprint on how to get an international audience, how to get the players in, how to have an international audience come check them out. And the MLB is like, well, we want your fans. We'll take your players, but fans, y'all can watch if you want to. We're an American pastime. You know what I'm saying? If you like us, you like us. If you don't, that's fine. So, it's like a blasé, just type of attitude towards the international players and international teams. That's why a lot of people didn't watch the WBC, because it's like, I don't even watch regular baseball. Why should I cheer for the United States? It's not Olympics.
It's an exhibition game, right? People were saying that.
That's
literally it's an exhibition. It ain't real, but it's very real.
Yeah. And a lot of it has to do with, like, baseball in the inner city has fallen off, man. And with that takes a whole demographic away from baseball. And when you take that demographic away and they go towards somewhere else, then your ratings will drop. Nobody's saying that. Like, that's a major part of baseball. Because I know growing up in my neighborhood, everybody in my neighborhood played baseball. You know what I'm saying? If you didn't play baseball, you was at the baseball field. You was, you know what I'm saying, getting your Pronto Pup, a Coach Wright special, you know, and you sat there and watched. And that's what you did. So with that being taken away so much, it has taken away from the viewership of the game and people fall in love with it, people watching the WBC. So that's just my opinion on it, man.
No, I think you bring up a strong point. Like, imagine if Gary Sheffield, you know, is playing in the NBA or NFL because he had that kind of talent, or Doc Good, and these are Tampa legends, Derek Bell, and they're also Fred McGriff, and they never played Hall of Famer Fred McGriff.
Yeah.
Hey.
Yeah.
And they the Crime Dog, shout out. And they never played because they were inner city kids who grew up playing baseball in a different era. So we're losing some, and I'm just talking specifically about Tampa, but we lose some of the greatest baseball players of all time, and we don't have them out there, and they are being, I would say supplemented, but they are being supplemented by that international crowd. But it doesn't have the same energy within America as a country. So I think that's a great point. What do you have for us on this topic, Fred?
Yeah, I mean, I just I just think baseball's changed in a lot of big ways, and I think it's very hard for people to, again, I think there's some transition between, are the new fans that you're trying to get in, are they actually coming in, and then how many fans are you kind of losing the other way? Baseball, more than any of these sports, because this is things that I think all these professional leagues deal with, so it's not unique to baseball.
Yeah.
But I personally, as a longtime baseball fan, I feel like this is a thing that Major League Baseball is the one of these major leagues who is struggling the most with this sort of balancing act. And I think they maybe don't know where they stand with their fans, and the rest of the world seems to be pretty on board with what baseball looks like.
Yeah.
No, 100%. Let's go into things. Let's go into our segment. Things we saw online. Right? You kind of talked a little bit about this, Roscoe. What's something that you saw online this week?
Man, all right. The thing that I saw online was a clip of this young lady. She thought she was about to get this guy's number. They was about to hook up or whatever. And he cashed out himself $1,000 from her account, which I thought was hilarious because
that's grimy.
That is some low down, dirty, greatest stuff I've ever heard in my life. And I would say that the pen and paper era of getting numbers would not fall for something like that. But I'm glad I'm married and I don't have to give out my number to random strangers, hand over my phone, because the young kids don't realize your whole life is in your phone. So that was, for the young man that was on vacation or wherever he was, man, that was brilliant. I give hats off to you. I will show you the Tiger Woods picture, the player. That ranks up there with sending your girlfriend on vacation and moving out of the house, bro. Like, I know
pretty
some people will get mad at me for saying it, but that was brilliant, man. I give nothing but props to that, man.
So I'm assuming this was a video clip that you saw. Like, this wasn't a story. You don't know if this person was like caught or what happened to the girl and her $1,000.
I don't know. I don't care. All I know is when we post it, when we see it, and you're gonna see it on here, trust me, it is, yeah, man, it stands out. It was hilarious. I laughed so hard, man. People thought something was wrong with me because they was like, well, what's happening? I said, man, he stole $1,000 from me. Oh, that's so wrong. I said, man, you don't understand, man. That's
all right, so let's watch the video clip and see where you stand in the comments below on this clip from Roscoe. So let's get to it.
If y'all coming to Miami, do not give no guy, since y'all want to remove my sound, don't give no guy y'all phone to put their number in, because this guy just cashed out himself $1,000 of my sister money and went on my sister's phone, act like he was putting his number in, and sent himself a whole $1,000. So y'all blow his stuff up and tell him to send my sister her money back.
All right. Don't forget, comment below. Where do you stand on this comment? Was this the greatest thing ever? Or this some grimy stuff and Roscoe is on left field? You might as well put that 10-4 kufi on, because what the heck is he talking about on this?
No.
I haven't seen it yet. So, after this, I will have seen it, and I'll let y'all know next week where I stand on it. Fred, I don't know if Fred want to touch this with a 10-foot pole.
I mean, it's a cold world. That's all I gotta say. It is a cold.
It is a very cold. It's a
Basically,
dog world.
So, quote the one thing, you gotta protect your neck. That's all I'm gonna say. So don't let those kinds of things happen to you.
Oh man, this is like the one of the Dave Chappelle skits. You know what I mean? It seems unreal. It just seems unreal. It's like that's what it is. It seems surreal. Like, for real? Like,
hey man,
you got it. Man. So let's move toward the end of our broadcast with things that only I care about, and not sure if you do. My wife is on her hike. Don't forget, I'm gonna share her links here, and below. So make sure you check out her Instagram. I don't think they see you. I might just blank that part out. But anyhow, she has walked 50 miles in 4 days. 50 miles. And she's not even a 10th on the way of her trip, as she walks from San Diego, the Mexican border near San Diego, all the way up to Canada. And it's just to see the representation of where she's at and how far she's hiked. It's kind of insane.
Yeah, that's insane, man. That's
it,
like you say, you're the only person that care about it. So I'll leave the other comment I want. I would just say that she walked a long way to get away from you, man. So
it takes a special dedication. You have to really want to get away from someone to be like, you know what? I'm just gonna walk up California.
I'm gonna walk California, man. I'm gonna cool off for 6 months. I'm gonna walk California.
I'm just gonna take a quick stroll up the Pacific coast. I will see you later.
I'll talk about it when I get back.
Hey, have you guys seen? I know you have Crocodile Dundee. He's like, I'm going on a walkabout. I'm just going on a walkabout.
On the walkabout, baby.
No, I love it. And the last thing for I get in my piece of this, I went to a maple farm. So that's all I'm gonna say. Only thing I care about. It was pretty cool. Seeing some trees getting tapped. I didn't tap any trees, but I did see some trees get tapped. So I thought that was pretty exciting. See a maple sugar farm.
That's pretty neat.
So what is can you give us a little more detail about this maple farm? Like how's a maple farm look? Is there a lot of trees on it? Are they arranged in some sort of particular order?
Yeah, some trees, some. Not to go to you, because we're deep into the podcast. I know a lot of it has to be cut out. So I really want to hear from you all about things that you care about this week. Go ahead, Fred. What do you have for us?
Well, I'll make it quick. I mean, I've had a real busy week in my day job. Keep doing my local news thing, and it's been busy. But I really wanted to
don't forget to subscribe or go check out the Echo Valley.
Echo.com if you're into local news and local journalism, independent journalism. I just wanted to say though, I look forward to this podcast now every week. We're all friends, we're all busy, but it's a fun time to sit around and kind of crack some jokes and laugh with my friends, talk about sports. And I think it's pushing me creatively, which is something that I really appreciate being part of it. And then I want to leave it off with my daughter has a dance competition coming up this weekend. Right. I want to tell her to go.
Let's go. All right. So the thing that I care about the most this week, Saturday I went to Chuck E. Cheese. I took the little one to Chuck E. Cheese, man. It was, you know, this is one of the cleanest Chuck E. Cheeses I've been in a while.
That's good.
And, you know, if you got small kids, you know how Chuck E. Cheese, man. They got all security at the door. You know, a rat is the main character. So just think about that. But I got the pizza and some chicken wings, and when I tell you, man, that was some of the best pizza and chicken wings I have had from an establishment. I thought about just showing up at Chuck E. Cheese by myself and just ordering pizza and chicken wings, but I didn't want to seem like a creep.
Yo, what would happen if you got home? What would happen if you got home and your wife was like, hey, honey, where you been? And you were like, oh, man, I just stopped by Chuck E. Cheese to eat some wings and pizza. What do you think she would say to you?
By yourself? That's the first question.
Yeah, she's like, by yourself? Why you didn't bring me? Because this was her idea. I give her credit. She said, Chuck E. Cheese need to make an adult version of Chuck E. Cheese where they sell their pizza and wings and watch TV. I said it was called sports bars.
Yeah, and no disrespect.
Have those.
And
we have like game times.
But they don't have the high quality meats and cheeses that Chuck E. Cheese. I don't know what they put in this stuff, man. I think it's little kid dope, catnip. It is great. It is the best pizza in town, man. If you get a chance, it's overpriced. It's about $80 for a pie, but it's great, man.
I just want to say, if you start up an adult Chuck E. Cheese in the state of Florida, it's going to break whatever record exists for fights. Probably in the first day. There's going to be a lot of fights in that.
They'll call it
Charles. It's going to be.
Yeah.
Charles in cursive, really nice.
Yeah, real nice cursive.
Charles.
Charles Esquire Cheese.
Charles Entertainment Cheese.
Oh man,
Charles Aloysius Cheese.
Cheese. Hey, I just thought about the cheese. Got to be good if the rat is a mascot.
Oh yeah, for sure. And I didn't even know that pizza. I don't know the last time I've eaten at Chuck E. Cheese. It's been a long time. I was wondering, was Chuck E. Cheese ever good when we were kids, or did we just not know any better?
I never went as a kid. I'm talking about as an adult. I've been, and it wasn't that good. Roscoe, I'm gonna call a little BS on this one, because last time I had Chuck E. Cheese pizza, it was suspect, but it was a long time ago.
You got to come to the one I went to, man. It is fancy. They have a salad bar. You know what I'm saying? They have all you can drink soda fountain. You know what I'm saying? They got rid of the ball. It's a fancy Chuck E. Cheese.
Are you sure it was Chuck E. Cheese, dog?
I almost had to wear a button down and a sport coat to get in there, man. You know what I'm saying? They check IDs at the door. Hey, man, it's basically kids gambling. So,
yeah. I hope the area around the ball pit was real clean.
No, they don't have the ball pit anymore. The ball pit is gone, man.
Good.
No more balls in the pit.
Good. I'm sure it was a haven for disease.
Yes.
All right, y'all. Thank you for that update, Roscoe. Thank you all for joining us. Episode number 11 in the book, man. 11. Yeah. It was a fantastic episode. I really appreciate you all for joining us. I appreciate you, Fred. Appreciate you, Roscoe. Any last word before we get out of here?
All I'm gonna say is, man, episode 121, man, is in the books. Watch it, enjoy it, comment, do all that good fun stuff, man.
Go Roughnecks.
Hey, all right, y'all. Catch y'all on the Flip Easy. Fred, don't hang up. Peace.
I was just thinking that before you said it. That's so funny. I was thinking, man, don't hit that button.